What's going on, guys? Recently I did a video on Waldo Cortez Acosta, and in his last fight on the regional scene, he put on one of the best heavyweight main events in LFA history, in my opinion, and he took on Thomas Peterson, and the fight was razor close before Waldo ended up finishing Peterson in the third round, and Waldo Cortez Acosta would go on to the Contender Series. His opponent, on the other hand, from watching that fight, you could tell would be in the UFC one day, and since that Waldo Cortez Acosta fight in April of 2022, he's reeled off 3 straight finish wins and has earned himself his way into the UFC, into a matchup with Jamal Pogues on UFC Fight Night Dolidze versus Imavov. Today we'll take a look at the other side of the coin from that heavyweight title fight back in April of 2022. We'll take a look at Thomas Peterson's highlights leading him to this point and his UFC debut on Saturday.
Oh, Till's out! It's over! It's over! That's what I'm saying, boy! Oh! He got dropped! It's over! It's over! Munoz! Oh my God!
The primarily wrestling-based Thomas Peterson has absolutely steamrolled a lot of his opponents, and none of them have seemed to be able to deal with the pressure and the takedowns of Thomas Peterson, where it feels like Peterson is able to break these heavyweight spirits, and it's rather quick. He has 6 first-round finishes in his 9-fight career so far. He started in combat as a junior college wrestler, developing a wrestling game that we can see now in his MMA career, and he was actually quite accomplished in the wrestling space, winning a JUCO national championship in the heavyweight bracket of 32 other people. He was also a part of the Iowa Central CC team that took home the team title overall that year. It was the first time Iowa Central captured the championship since 2002 when Cain Velasquez was a part of the team. Iowa CC was also the home to national championship wrestlers John Jones, Kobe Covington, to name a few, that have transferred over to the UFC quite well. And a year off of that college championship, he'd switch over to mixed martial arts. He started with a brief 5-fight amateur career spanning 2 years from 2018 to 2019, where he steamrolled all of his opponents. He finished 3 of the 5 in the first round, got 4 finishes, also including a KC Fighting Alliance heavyweight title in his 4th amateur bout, and capped off that career against the 2-0 Jimmy Barnes with a unanimous decision before turning pro in December of 2019, where he would continue his steamrolling ways, finishing BJ Lacey in the first round due to punches, before finding a familiar organization in the Legacy Fighting Alliance to return and continue his pro career, and he would take every single one of his regional fights for the LFA before being signed to the UFC in 2024. Taking a look at his career in the LFA would be his 2nd stop, and he would finish 3 straight opponents all in the first round: Brian Peterson, Kimo Louise, and Odell Panton. These 4 wins were made even more impressive because Thomas Peterson was starting to show that he had serious one-punch knockout power. In the fight against Kimo Louise, he landed 1-shot done strike with 19 seconds remaining on the first round clock. These 4 fights set him up for a vacant heavyweight title opportunity against the 8-4 Vernon Lewis. Vernon Lewis was on his own unbeaten run in the LFA, defeating Jared Vandera, Jeremy Hardy, Yamaz Wildman, and Austin Lane, leading him into this vacant title spot. And Thomas Peterson would also come in enemy territory. It would be in Vernon Lewis's backyard of Texas. And Thomas Peterson would again show the one-punch knockout power that not a lot of wrestlers do seem to have. And with his agility in the heavyweight division, he surprises a lot of his opponents, and he would finish Vernon Lewis in the very first round via ground and pound punches, and this would set himself up for a huge matchup against another undefeated heavyweight prospect with a guaranteed shot at the UFC coming next. On LFA 129, against the talked about Waldo Cortez Acosta, who was also on a great run of wins, both fighters matched up at 5-0 with identical records and a lot of finishes scattered throughout. It was a very, very close fight coming in, and for Peterson, in a career of taking guys down and breaking their spirit, it was time for Thomas Peterson to adjust his game plan to a Waldo Cortez Acosta who was going to tough it out in these perilous positions and really test Thomas Peterson throughout the 5 scheduled rounds. I already did a highlight breakdown for this fight in the Waldo Cortez Acosta highlight video, but revisiting it here, the matchup was extremely close between both, with Thomas Peterson having success with his wrestling and Waldo Cortez Acosta slowly gaining confidence in his striking as the rounds progressed. If this were a normal 3-round scheduled fight, Peterson was probably a minute 17 away from winning a decision, but Waldo Cortez Acosta landed a beautiful combination and followed up to finish Peterson at 4:53 of the 3rd round, and Waldo Cortez Acosta would take Peterson's World Heavyweight Championship and earn himself a Dana White Contender Series fight. Reeling off the loss, Peterson would quickly bounce back 5 months later, again in the LFA, this time against Corey Megenberg, and then he would take out Richard Foster in the co-main event of LFA 150 before getting a Dana White Contender Series call himself to take on Chandler Cole in 2023. He went back to the bread and butter of taking his opponents down and ground and pounding them until they couldn't take it anymore, and it would continue to prove effective in every fight. The national JUCO wrestler would come in as the minus 700 favorite into his Contender Series fight, and Chandler Cole would survive the first round before Peterson would continue to engage in the grappling, taking Cole down and finishing him via key lock in the second round about 1:08 in. This impressive performance on the Contender Series, paired with a thin heavyweight division, would earn Thomas Peterson a contract to the UFC and the position he's in with a UFC Fight Night opportunity. Peterson has a very good blend of striking and the wrestling dating back to his college JUCO days. How far do you think Thomas Peterson can go in a heavyweight division that, let's face it, lacks a lot of great wrestling heavyweights? But that'll do it for today's video, guys. If you enjoyed, remember to smash that like button and subscribe to Combat Sports Central, and I will see you in the next one.